funny. And before I came in, I got here to the station. I got here a little bit early. I wanted to make sure we had all our reads, printed up. I wanted to make sure I had the new sponsor, which we do have. And we had a lot of things going on. Oh, wait. Can I see that real quick?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm, again, I do this sort of thing. I'm always forgetting. Well, hey, Minocqua Brewing Company, who is a sponsor of the Patty Vasquez Show. Got to mention them. I'm told that the beer fridge is locked and loaded.
Well, what are we doing after this?
Well, we're after this, yes, because we can't, we cannot imbibe while we're on the air. But,
no, none of that.
But
I'm already a loose cannon.
Really. But back to the point of Patty in New Orleans. It's really nice to be down there, and it just made. Okay, so I get here early. I want to make sure we have all our reads. We already have our show rundown, folks. You wouldn't believe the amount of preparation that goes into what appears to be a completely disorganized show. But
it takes a lot of organization for us to look
disorganized, right?
It's a lot of planning.
So we have our rundown, and I just, when I first walked in, I'm talking to the folks here, and the folks here at CPT, who are just wonderful, and are always so welcoming and generous, and Renee, who handles payroll and stuff like that. We were talking, and I was lamenting. Well, we talked about Patty being in New Orleans and how great it is for her, and she gets to relax and all that. I was lamenting how I'm never going to be. I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to go to New Orleans. In fact, it occurred to me today. Well, not today, but it's been a few days now. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go back to Disney World as much as I love Disney World, and I've been wanting to go to Disney World for the longest time.
Okay, why are we not doing that?
Because well, right now I am kind of like unemployed. So it's like, you can't say you're going to Disney World on, unemployed.
I mean, you could say it.
I could say it. I can try to manifest it.
You can.
Yeah. But it is expensive. Even when I was gainfully employed, it's really expensive to go to Disney World.
Okay.
And it's gotten even to the point where I don't know, how even a single guy like me can make it. And then the planes are falling out of the sky.
Okay, some of us fly a lot, so let's not do that.
I know, you've been traveling.
We're already on 5 milligrams of lorazepam. We don't.
I shouldn't laugh. I know, I shouldn't laugh.
Woo!
I should not laugh. But again, so it's like, there's a bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
And can I tell you something? And then what did I send you in our show rundown today? The first 15 minutes of the show is, it's Monday, but I'm already tired.
It's been an exhausting week, folks.
And it's only Monday.
And it's only Monday. We are one day in. No, this has been the longest year of my life.
Yeah, it's only, I know.
Like, why?
It's the Liz Lemon meme that goes
really
around.
is.
Tina Fey goes Alec Baldwin. It's been a heck of a week, huh? And then Alec Baldwin goes, it's only Tuesday, Lemon.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's only, we just hit March.
It just happened.
Just got to March.
I am exhausted.
And I'm like, and there's like this constant just this anxiety of what's happening, what's going on, and it's like you can't go on you can't go on social media because it's like a feedback loop.
Well, let me say this. I do have to share with you what I did this weekend. And this is, we're going to steer it into a positive direction for a moment.
That's what I have. That's what I need.
Steering it.
That's what I need Ken for.
So, State Representative Stephanie Kifowit invited me to the Kane County Democratic dinner. And the Kane County Dems, wonderful people. Chairman is Mark Gately. They had so many wonderful elected officials there, including Governor J.B. Pritzker and Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. But what I can tell you is the Democrats in Illinois, 90% of them are working hard for you. And that gives me so much joy and positivity that we have a really good bench. So actually, I needed that. I needed to be in a room full of some amazing Democrats. Shout out to the Kane County Dems. And that energy and the vibe. And it's like, okay, I'm not alone. And don't get me wrong. I think as Democrats, and I think Dan Savage said this, we focus so much on the protest, and the Trump, and all the negative. You have to remember to dance. And during the 80s, as Dan Savage pointed out, a lot of LGBTQ activists, we, went to funerals in the morning, protested in the afternoon, and danced all night, because you do it all for the dance. And I think that what I'm afraid of is Democrats are so angry and Trump and negative, we're going to burn ourselves out. We are forgetting about the dance. Last night I danced. Don't forget to dance.
Well,
folks.
that's great. No, I love it. I love that idea. And I mean, I will also be honest. I mean, again, I'm a cisgender male.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Hispanic. I am a minority, mind you. My particular bloc decided to vote for Trump in embarrassing numbers this past election.
And I'm blaming you for that.
I accept the blame.
Okay.
I'm telling you that when I see people protesting now, what's happening with ICE and all these things, all these Latino communities that are protesting it, I'm like, guys, this wasn't the time. The time you were supposed to rally was during the election, when you had your brothers and sisters talking about how I believe that Trump is only going to do this. He's not going to deport them. It's only going to be the criminals. And after what happened the last time, we knew that wasn't going to be the case, and yet it is now. And with all the discrimination that was happening against the Latino community in the last Trump administration, the fact that anyone of Latino descent could vote for him this time and then be surprised at how it went is just beyond me.
I'm going to push back on that. I'm going to push back on that. As a Democrat, always vote, Democrat. I try. You got to give people somebody to vote for and not someone to vote against. And for some reason, the candidate did not resonate. Now, I voted. But I'm going to push back against blaming marginalized people for not doing quote unquote what they're supposed to do. I'm just.
But in the Latino community,
yes.
I mean, we can say yes about marginalized people, but we were talking about these were business people. Okay. These were people in the Latino community who were affluent, who had a voice, who could have said things, but who did benefit. Did benefit.
You just spoke a whole
from Trump.
You should have led with that.
I could have led with that. You should have. But in any case,
I'm retracting everything I just said. Never mind. Because that makes a difference, though.
But but here's the other thing too. You say they should have voted for the Democrats should have given some of the vote for. I would have voted for a rusty can of tomato soup.
Same.
Okay?
Same.
It's like say, here, you either have this can of tomato soup from a rusty can, or we're going to drop you into a pool of sharks. And some people said, I'm not sure I like that soup.
Right.
I'll take the sharks.
I'll take the sharks. And it's like, why is it biting me? Because it's a shark.
Anyway, I'm just wondering, do we have a break? Yeah? All right, good. Let's take a break here because I know I've got Jim in Chicago and Dave in Hoffman Estates waiting. I don't want to cut them off. So let's go to a break here, and when we come back, we'll take our callers. This is Ken Mejia Beal and Elliot Serrano sitting in guest hosts for Driving Home with Patty Vasquez. Call us at 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. We'll be back after the break.
Tom Hartman.
Lori in Ocala, Florida. Hey, Lori, what's up?
Hi, Tom. First, I just want to say thank you for being here for all of us. It's really important. It's almost like having a friend there that you know you can listen to and talk to. And I've listened to you since Air America, and I really appreciate you today.
Well, thank you, Lori.
The Tom Hartman Radio Program. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new CareWatch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The CareWatch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your CareWatch for free. The CareWatch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. 800-741-5819. That's 800-741-5819.
WCPT replay.
We're going to talk to Renato Mariotti. What are some of the things you would suggest folks do?
I think it's really important to actually get out there and volunteer and contribute and be on the front lines so that you're doing something, not just posting on social media. And I think it's also important in your own communities to be outspoken, to be an advocate, and to be helping candidates to try to make sure, because we're in less than 2 years, we're going to be right back here trying to undo some of this mess in a midterm election. Ultimately, having a defeatist attitude, or an attitude where, well, we just, we might as well move to Canada or something like that, that's surrendering our country and millions of people who can't move to a fate that they don't deserve.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez
In your communities in Chicago
on WCPT 820.
Yes, folks, we are driving it home with special guest hosts Ken Mejia Beal and Elliot Serrano. If you missed us when we first walked in, Ken was pretty much trying to help me kind of like get out of this anxiety that I'm in right now.
That's what I do.
That's what he does. And I know that a lot of stuff happened this past weekend that people have things they want to share or talk about.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's go to Jim in Chicago. Jim, you've been holding for a while. Thank you so much for calling into Driving Home with Patty Vasquez. How you doing, Jim?
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, hi, how are you guys?
Good.
I was thinking about Patty down in New Orleans. Wednesday starts Ash Wednesday. I've been getting the ashes for years and years and years. The same refrain. From dust you came, to dust you shall return. And that's the only thing that I believe, that I know that is true. Because I was a pallbearer in many wakes and lost many loved ones. And what I can understand is in this age, how do people follow other people? How do they follow another Homo sapien when they know they're going back to dust? I can't understand that. I don't understand how these people have followers. In my mind, I don't even know how that would even begin, how I would follow anybody. I can't, under that criteria, I couldn't follow anybody. And my point is, but now it's become where Musk has got 2 million followers. And so I imagine if you had 2 million, you get up sometime during a day and you turn on this hideous person and you follow some kind of a philosophy he has, or whomever it may be. And where are they going? They're going back to dust. I mean, I don't get it. Can you explain it to me? How did that happen?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, here's the thing. You are an intelligent human being. And, well,
I feel a reversed hitting a couple of people here.
Oh, well, here it comes. Intelligent people can think on their own. And we also, when you mix that intelligence in with a good moral system, we know we have the intelligence and the morality not to fall for anything. Not everyone is built like us. And you have a lot of folks that are too ignorant to think and too moralist to have values. So that's why they follow.
But the internet supports this. It never happened before the internet. I never heard of people being followed. I mean, I know that there were stalkers, or for instance, but I never heard, oh, I'm following this Homo sapien, or I'm following that Homo sapien.
It was
I'd
different.
be jarring to hear that.
Yeah, no.
But this has turned into a nightmare. You've got tech people who think they're going to run the world. They think they're going to run the world. There's 6, I don't know how many there are. There's 4 or 5, Thiel, and et cetera, et cetera. And they think they're going to run the world by technology, by AI, and all this other nonsense. Is that what's going to happen to the world? Is the world going to be run by somebody from they're going to hire like the Russians. The Russians installed Trump. It was cheaply done. He had the swing states in 2016. He had the kids, the high school kids. One of them came up with the deep state theory. I mean, but they're running on this for 10 years now. I mean, when do you follow your own conscience? When do you follow your own heart? When do you follow your own being to the grave? I don't get this. I don't get what's going on, though. I don't get it.
You have to have one to follow it. And that's...
Well,
I'm on your team, Jim. Yeah. I'm on your team.
Thanks, Jim, for chiming in. We got to get to another caller. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Jim is asking a question that unfortunately we're not going to know the real answer to it for a while. It's something that history is going to have to sort out at some point. But I will say, I mean, this sort of thing is not exclusive to the social media or internet age.
No.
You've had people standing up on the corners on soapboxes, which is where you got the whole thing about standing on my soapbox, and talking to their cause and having people gather around them and then follow their cause that way. So it's just easier on social media. All right, Dave in Hoffman Estates has been waiting. Dave, thank you so much for holding and calling in with Ken and Elliot here on Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. How you doing?
Hello, Dave.
Hey guys. Hey, Elliot. Hey, Ken. On following, I believe the Nazis have done with Hitler, and that was, 90 or 100 years ago, and we're still getting that poison on us. So,
absolutely.
I mean, you've had a lot. All the following isn't always necessarily bad. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi had followers. I mean, you had good people who rallied the populace to their causes. So I don't want to say that just because someone gets up there and gains following, it necessarily is a nefarious purpose.
Right. And like when I grew up in that too, they had that Moon, Reverend Moon, and them Moonies and them people.
Oh, I remember that. That was crazy. They had a giant the wedding they did with like 1,000 people at one time, and the Reverend Moon, like the force,
Was this a cult or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The other one I'm drawing a blank on is the one that was down in that Central American country, and they drank the Kool-Aid.
Jim Jones.
Jim
Jones. My church is actually that denomination, if you can believe that.
So sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I didn't get no Kool-Aid from you.
No, I don't drink Kool-Aid. Yeah. Too much sugar. On
Patty, I just got to thinking, every time she goes to New Orleans, there's a horrible weather. First there was snow, and now you got rains and a tornado. So,
jeez, I didn't hear that.
There's a tornado?
Yeah, they were showing these big weather lines and the heavy rains and stuff down there. But
I did not see that.
Oh, Patty.
Wow. I don't mind. I hate laughing. I shouldn't laugh.
This is horrible.
It is.
It's not funny.
It feels good to laugh, though. I mean, it's the way the world's been going lately, that if you don't, you're going to just cry yourself in that. But as I mentioned on Pete Hegseth, this is fresh off the griddle today. He reinstated the name of Fort Benning today, the Army base. This is the second such reversal that he's ordered. And the first that requires actually removing the name of a U.S. service member. This base had been renamed Fort Moore after Lieutenant General Hal Moore, whose memoir, We Were Soldiers Once and Young, which chronicled his service in Vietnam. And the name also commemorated his wife, Julia, who pushed the military to develop a more humane system for notifying family members of casualties. So he, he's just a piece of garbage, that guy. But and then also the other story where he ordered the Pentagon to stop offensive cyber operations against Russia, and the Digital Defense Report had highlighted Russian cyber operations aimed at influencing the 2024 presidential election, an effort that resulted in sanctions by then President Biden administration. So how can this not be considered as giving aid and comfort to the enemy?
Again, this is all stuff that happened the last time around.
Yep.
It happened in 2016 through 2020. This is the exact stance that the Trump administration had towards Russia. The exact same things went into effect. And guess what? It didn't matter enough to enough people for us to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't put this guy in office.
Yeah, like Hillary had said, Putin's puppet.
And
she was so right.
Harris said the same thing, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
right, Dave.
Do you think, real quick, with Vice President Harris, do you think if President Biden would have done what he originally planned on, being a transformative president, and where we would have had primaries on him, that, some people, I think they felt like they had their, vote snatched, by just saying this is going to be who's taking over. Do you think it would have been different?
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't know. See, that's
so.
Monday morning quarterbacking, because I can see it.
I know.
Well, if the Democratic candidate, let's say we do that, and the Democratic candidate still loses, then you're going to have folks saying, Biden should have just passed it over to Harris.
No. I'm saying to answer Dave's question, because that was the question.
Yes.
I do believe that if we had a primary with contenders and that we're able to rally folks to their cause and their vision, I think it would have been different. Yes. That is my answer, yes.
Cool. It's just a thought. I mean,
we're going to fight during the commercial break, Dave. I'm just letting you know.
Anyway, sorry. Let's put off. I know you got other people that want to talk, but thanks for giving me some time, guys.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate you calling in. Speaking of the break, we do have one.
We do have one, but you mentioned earlier we have some new sponsors.
Yeah, well, I will hit that when we get back from the break, because this is one of those harder breaks, and I hate.
We really are about to fight,
because every time I hit that hard break, I bump my head. Anyway,
all right, let's go to break,
folks. You can text us at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-WCPT. Chime in, tell us what you think about what's been going on. Ken and I are going to arm wrestle during the break,
and I'm going to win.
And when we come back, we'll talk to you about some of our newer supporters. All right?
Yeah.
This is Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal sitting in for Patty Vasquez on Driving at Home with Patty Vasquez here on WCPT in the Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies, a low around 42, and rain showers move in after midnight. It will be breezy. Showers and storms are likely for Tuesday, cloudy with a high around 50, and it will be windy. Rain showers continue to fall as we look ahead toward Tuesday night, low of 48, cloudy, and still windy. Then for Wednesday, showers and storms remain. Mostly cloudy, high right around 50 as winds get stronger. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 47 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Hey Progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Chu's Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. here on WCPT. I want to let you know that one of our leading progressive voices, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, will be my guest the first Friday of every month at 7:30 a.m.
In this moment, we are not going to surrender our humanity. And that's really what I believe the extremism in this country would like for us to do.
Mayor Brandon Johnson, the first Friday of every month on Chu's Views on WCPT.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
Patty Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patty Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
We are driving it home with guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. Patty is in New Orleans. You're going to get us for the next 2 days.
You say that like it's a punishment.
When I look at you,
oh God!
When I'm looking at you, you're gonna get it for the next 2 days.
Oh boy, I'm in tears right now.
You should be, folks. We did arm wrestle over the break, and
I won.
Yeah, because it's not. I should have realized how unfair it was. Because I go, folks, if you haven't seen Ken like on his social media and all that, the dude's got some guns, and I have slingshots. Anyway,
it's all. Listen, I lift weights to relieve stress.
Yeah, I lift weights to stave off aging.
That too.
Speaking of aging, well, actually, let's welcome one of the new sponsors of the Patty Vasquez Show, because March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and Patty is proud to welcome a new sponsor to the Driving It Home family. They are You Really Winning? Now, gambling is common in Illinois, with many people taking their chances on the lottery, video game rooms, casinos, or online sports betting. Now, when you find yourself betting and thinking about gambling all the time, when you lose more than you win, and when gambling is affecting your job, relationships, and more, are you really winning? We are here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit areyoureallywinning.com today. And I would say this brings up a part of the whole gambling aspect that kind of, I will never understand how let's say the city of Chicago is going to say, hey, we need to open a casino in Chicago. So that way all the money that we make from the casino will fund our schools.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that really worked, then Las Vegas and New Jersey should have the best schools in the nation. And yet, do they? No.
I'm not jumping. And yeah.
and don't get me started. Don't get me started on the Powerball. On the Powerball,
I know it's
where it's supposed to be like the time that one time, the last time, that wasn't the last time. I think the time previous when the winning ticket was like $1 billion.
$1 billion. I remember. I played that.
Billion, right? Yeah. $1 billion, and yet of that money. And of the states that were participating in said Powerball and $1 billion jackpot, their schools are still struggling to fund them.
I think if things worked the way they were supposed to, this would happen.
Yeah, but they never seem to do it. Right.
Work.
I always say gambling, scratch-off tickets, all that is a tax on the poor.
Yep.
Because people, you gladly spend all that money on a scratch-off and get what? Sometimes it breaks my heart. I'll go to the grocery store and I see like these older folks like sitting by the scratch-offs machine that they got out of the dispenser, and they're there, just scratch. That is upsetting to me. But I've never seen anyone get up and go, woo! My rent is paid this week or this month.
It gives everybody needs a little hope. A little bit of hope. I think, I don't play often, but when I play, the first thing I do is I pick my numbers, and then I go to Realtor.com and I pick out my dream house. And then I look at my partner and I say, if I win this, I'm leaving you. And then I pick out a new partner.
And there goes your karma right there.
And then I lose, and I say, it's just me and you, buddy. It's me and you in
that's
this
a great,
apartment.
great way to reinforce your partner that they're your fallback
That I'm here for
position.
the right reasons.
Yeah, right. That you're my fallback. I can't do better.
This is it.
And to Ken's partner, he is joking. He is
he
joking.
knows that.
He
He
knows you're
doesn't
joking.
take me seriously.
All right. We have, hey, look, Victor from Oregon is on the line.
Nice.
Hey, Victor, let's
Victor, how's
bring
it
you on board.
going?
Victor, thanks so much for holding. You are on Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez and guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. How you doing?
Hey, Ken and Elliot, you guys are doing a fantastic job. You're covering a lot of territory.
Thanks,
and
Victor.
that's great.
Thank
and
you.
We need to scratch off Donald Trump, and V.D. Vance is who we need to scratch off.
I agree.
But the point is, Donald Trump has proved to be a traitor to the United States when he had that performance over the weekend. Poor Zelensky, who was just trying to save his country and stop the killing of tens of thousands of women and children from Russian bombs and drones and missiles. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are the ones that should resign. They're destroying America with Elon Musk, taking away all the benefits and all the programs, all the agencies, all the services that Congress passed for the American people. Elon Musk is destroying them one agency at a time. And I suggest that everybody get on social media and call your congressman, call your representative, and demand that Donald Trump and J.D. or V.D. Vance resign. They all want Zelensky to resign, but the real monster is, of course, Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one destroying America. He should resign. Don't you think, you guys? Are you there?
I wish he would. That was a loaded question, Victor, because yes, of course we agree with you. It's I don't think he will, but I wish he would.
No, he won't.
He
He
won't.
won't. And I mean, really, the next option, unless you want to, there are a couple things that could happen. Not necessarily saying that they will, but over the next, we're still 50 days into Donald Trump's first 100 days in office, when he's really trying to set his quote unquote legacy. And really, that first 100 days is when you're going to get the most done before you get bogged down and talking about the midterms.
Yes.
Come the midterms, and by the way, there's still two special elections going on in the House of Representatives.
Yes, there are.
Where there are two Republican seats that are up, and I don't know what kind of attention the DNC has been giving that, or they're just saying, probably chances are they're going to go to Republican candidates anyway. But the funny thing, speaking of that, is that a lot of these representatives, because they're seeing all the kind of the backlash, the public backlash to what Trump's been doing, what Elon Musk has been doing, and they're doing bypassing the Congress. Their folks, they're going to their, town hall meetings with their local representatives.
Yeah, they are.
And they're giving those representatives a load.
As they should.
And they're being outspoken on social media, as you said, Victor. They're being very outspoken. Yeah. They're saying stuff on social media. They're saying stuff in person. But what are the Republicans doing? They're going, instead of going, hey, let's address this and talk to folks about what the issues are.
Protesters.
Or stuff. Yeah. Or they're just not going to have those town hall meetings anymore.
Yeah, I think you are correct, but I think if everyone can register their protest by getting on social media and demanding that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance resign, I think it's a good start. And tomorrow in D.C., Donald Trump is going to make some sort of speech, and we all have to come out and protest. We're in it 50 days. 100 days may be too late.
Yeah, but
now,
the reality is, Victor, with all due respect, the reality is the time to make their voices heard was at the ballot box. And unfortunately, there was a good, I forget what the number was. A good 50 to 60,000 Democratic votes that would have made the difference that just did not show up in the different battleground states. That's how close it was.
Well, that very well may be true, but constitutionally, what they did in red states is illegal, unconstitutional, the way they suppress people from voting. And you can damn well be sure that they threw out maybe 4 to 5 million votes they were able to destroy. So you think Donald Trump won? He did not win. This is the reality of the situation. You don't understand what kind of how far they will go to cheat and steal the election. They rigged that election. Donald Trump even said that he would rig the election before when he was running on a campaign. He said, you won't have to vote anymore once I'm in because it's rigged. He even came out and said that Donald Trump doesn't lie sometimes. This vote was rigged.
Well,
you guys think what you want, but yeah, that's fine.
I get that, Victor. I'm just for the 4 years that the Trump supporters were saying that the vote was rigged against them to allow Biden to win. I am reluctant to get on the other side and start saying the same thing. Is just my point.
That's one of the techniques they use is reverse psychology. You know, they will go to no depth to steal an election. I guarantee you that. Elon Musk put in $250 million into installing Donald Trump as president. You know, that money went somewhere. And
well, if that's possible, then I'm pretty sure that the Democrats have someone pretty rich who can do the same thing the next time around.
Well, you guys keep up the good work and keep up the fight because you're freedom warriors. Warriors for freedom. Remember that.
Thanks, Victor. Thanks for checking in with us, and we appreciate your call. Hey, I like that. Freedom Warriors.
Freedom Warriors.
Is that like the Avengers or the Fantastic Four?
It's like the Avengers, except we don't have to wear spandex.
I could benefit from Spanx at least. Something to really get me tighten up some areas, you know? Because I'm kind of pouring over. You know, it's funny too because if you're, are we on the YouTube? Can people see us on the Facebook page?
They can.
Okay. So if you're looking at me on the Facebook page right now or on the YouTube page,
are we going to say the Facebook?
The Facebook or the YouTube?
Got it.
I know there. I look at myself on camera and I'm like, my face still looks chubby. But I have lost some weight. I have. You've seen me, right?
Yeah,
Over time.
Yes,
I have lost some weight. In fact, this morning I was getting dressed. I put on this sweater and these jeans. I'm like, I've got a lot of room in here right now. No, mind you, I needed to lose the weight. Before we go into the break, and this is completely non-related to politics, and maybe because we just need a break from all this kind of stuff.
Okay.
My ex-wife sent me a picture of me with our ex-in-laws, who I loved dearly, and they loved me dearly, and they had passed away recently.
Sorry about that.
And you know, and again, it was, you know, they were wonderful people. My ex and I, we parted on very amicable terms. We still talk.
That.
You know, it's a wonderful thing. She's wonderful. Her family was wonderful. All get along great. It just, you know, it is what it is.
I get it.
She sent me, she goes, hey, do you want some of these photos that we took with you and Mom and Dad? Because, you know, they loved you. Would you like them? And so she scanned them and she sent them to me and said, thank you.
Who is this person?
I looked at it and I was going, oh my God, I'm a boat. I had gained so much weight. And I was like, it's like the whole and it was like unhealthy is what I'm saying.
I get it.
Some folks are big. I mean, I'm not going to tell folks, you know, oh, you need to lose weight to whatever. I mean, for some folks, you just carry a lot of weight and you're healthy that way.
Right.
I was not being healthy with the amount of weight I was carrying. And when I looked at myself in those photos, I was like, whew, doggy. So I want to live to see a few elections. And I want to live to see the midterms.
Well, speaking of living, can I talk a little bit about tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about tomorrow on Choose Views. Richard Chew has a packed show with Robert Staines, president of Advance Illinois Immigration Attorney, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, and Dr. Lamenta Conway, founder of the I Am Able Foundation. Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
And with that, we're going to go to our next break. We've got a lot going on. So, folks, I see someone just called in. Please hold on the line for the 708.
Yes.
And if you haven't called or texted yet, the number is 773-763-9278. 773-763-WCPT. Give us a call. Send us a text. I've got the text line in front of me. This is one of those days when more people are calling than texting.
Yeah, nobody wants to text us.
No, they want to call, which is great. But,
Yay.
I mean, I like reading the text, too.
I
so
know you do.
Don't be shy, folks. All right. When we come back, we'll wrap up the first hour before we get into our guest at the top of the hour.
Former Congresswoman Marie Newman.
All right. This is Driving at Home with Patty Vasquez and guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. We'll see you after the break.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. What is good for the heart is good for the brain. We see more and more evidence of this. In fact, there's this new study out of Sweden which found that people who were aerobically fit in middle and old age had a lower risk of Alzheimer's and other dementias. Now, cardiorespiratory fitness, that's something you need to work at because it declines as you age. According to a statement by the American Heart Association, it declines at a rate of 3 to 6% during people's 20s and 30s. And then it decreases more than 20% per decade for people in their 70s and beyond. Dr. Richard Isaacson is one of the leading experts in the field, and he told us this. Use a car analogy. Here's how it goes. The more fit a person is, the more effectively they can shift into a higher mental gear, and the faster they can go overall. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. It's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patty Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving at Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Yes, we are driving it home with guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. It's the K&E duo. Key. It's like Key and Peele.
Well, no, not like, now, never mind.
They were way funnier, though.
I beg your pardon. I think we're funnier than those guys.
Well, okay, how about this? Jordan Peele is way better at bringing a sense of horror to everyone.
Yes, he is. He's great at that.
I haven't gotten there yet, although I'm getting there.
Have you seen his version of The Twilight Zone?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes,
it's amazing.
And at this part of the break, at this part of the hour, we are remiss that we have not mentioned, but we've mentioned Minocqua Brewing as well as Source Solar. Kids Above All, another sponsor of Driving Home with Patty Vasquez. Kids Above All, a great organization helping kids in need. And, we're going to have a guest at the top of the next hour. So, hey, we've got folks calling in. Let's get to them. Nancy in Oak Lawn has been holding. Thank you so much for waiting, Nancy. You're on Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez and guest hosts Elliot and Ken. How you doing?
Hello, Nancy.
Not good, but hi, guys. How are you doing? Anyway.
You need Ken to help you here because he's been helping me deal with my anxiety. What's
you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to feel good listening to WCPT, watching MSNBC, but no. They have, and your guest is going to prove my point and you guys have been proving my point the first hour because, all right, I'm going to take a breath here because I usually get too worked up over all this. First of all, I will fight for my country to my death. Just remember that. I hate when people say to me, oh, well, you just want to give up and not fight. No, I want to fight. And to my death if I have to, and I'll bet any money that's what it'll come to, because we're already in the middle of a civil war, and most of the country doesn't even realize it. And secondly, I apologize if I get to sounding snarky, because it happens. But I am so tired of this completely broken two-party system. And that's what causes us to lose all the time, because they have set the Democratic Party, not the Democratic people. We, the people, haven't been recognized and haven't been represented properly in, I don't know, at least 50 years. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm probably a lot older than you guys. I'm a boomer. And I'll tell you something. I am ashamed of my generation, how they've messed this whole situation up and how made it more dangerous for my children and grandchildren. And this two-party system does not represent us. The Democratic Party allows the cons to step all over us. They allow them to control the narrative. They let them play them all the time. And that's just what I said this last election. My friends all said, oh, I thought you said they were going to win. Yeah, there was a caveat to that. They were going to win if the Democratic Party didn't screw it up again. Guess what? They did.
They screwed it
They're
up
all
again.
ranting and raving now about how, oh, we've got to fight. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. Where the hell were they a year ago? Why weren't they screaming and ranting then? Why weren't they telling? They lost, not we the people, they lost to a maniac who actually screamed on national television, they're eating the cats and dogs. I mean, come on, really? I'm ashamed. I am ashamed that these guys actually lost to this moron twice. And what do they talk about? Do they talk about what we can do to change it and how we're going to have to fix it? No. They constantly talk about, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. Well, no kidding. No kidding. And you let him.
Nancy.
In the words of the great late Joe Madison, when he said, what are you going to do about it? Because the Democratic Party is doing nothing but turning around after every election. They do the same thing. You know what that's called when you repeat the same thing all over again and expect a different result?
Insanity.
They turn around every time and they blame the voters. Never talk about voter suppression. Never talk about projection, which the felon is real good at doing. But no, they don't fight back. They just turn around and blame the voters. Count how many, look up Greg Callis, and count how many votes were suppressed this past election. Enough. You talked about people not coming out to vote. If they did, we would have won. Well, guess what? The votes that were suppressed, that would have pushed us way over, and it would have given us a landslide, and it would have given us everything. The White House, the Congress, and the not-so-Supreme Court.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
thank you,
Appreciate
Nancy.
it. Appreciate you venting. Come on, take a breath, and we're all in this together. So thank you so much for calling in. All right, real quick, because we have a hard break coming up, but I got Michael waiting. Real quick, Michael, I got 2 minutes or a minute and a half to give you. Tell us how you feel about Brandon Johnson.
Thank you for taking my call, and you're doing a great job guest hosting today, just so you know.
Thank you.
We have Andrzej Duda, the president of Poland, visiting our city, and I've yet to see the mayor go to any of the events he's been at, which is really despicable, considering we have a leader from a foreign country who is a big ally of the United States, as well as somebody who supports Ukraine. And nobody from our city, our mayor hasn't said hello. Alderman Raymond Lopez has been there. Maria Pappas has visited him. Dick Durbin was at the Post Museum today. Where is our mayor? And I agree with the last caller, but when we have leaders like this, there's a reason why the Democrats lose. The people of the party need to be purged.
I'm all for primaries, so I'm the primary.
I have no rebuttal.
Yeah, nothing. You didn't getting any pushback from us today.
Thanks so much, Michael. Again, there's especially with the Johnson Mayor Johnson's administration. Man, talk about easy things that you can do to help with optics, and they make the bad decision almost every time.
Well, I'm not gonna jump into the Mayor Johnson thing, but I am gonna say primaries are important. I love them, and if someone is doing a bad job, we have to get them out. As I said earlier in the show, 90% of our Democrats are doing a great job. 10% are trash. Get rid of the 10%. We can have a better government.
And a lot of it is action, and a lot of it is messaging, and they're kind of flooding it both ways. All right, folks. When we come back, we do have a guest.
I cannot wait. She is a rock star.
All right, I love rock stars.
I love rock stars.
And we will be back after the break. This is Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal here on the Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez show. Patty's in Nolens, where
there's a tornado.
Apparently, she brought a tornado with her this time. Rain and a tornado. And folks, you can still participate in the discussion. I've gotten one text so far. One text.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm starting to take it personal. So, folks, help me deal with my own self-esteem issues. 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. You're listening on WCPT AM 820 and the Heartland Signal. We'll be back after the break.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners, and we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-996-0496. My website is moreylawoffice.com. That's More spelled M-O-R-E-E. Again, the phone is 847-996-0496. There is no cost or obligation for our initial discussion. I look forward to speaking with you.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump again ripping Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for his latest comment on ending the war with Russia. Sagar Meghani has details.
Volodymyr Zelensky says the end is still very, very far away. On social media, President Trump slammed that as the worst thing Zelensky could have said. And hours later at the White House,
he better not be right about that.
Oh, I think he's quite right.
The Brookings Institution's Angela Stent, a former U.S. intelligence officer, spokesperson for Russia says Putin has no interest in negotiating a deal to stop the fighting right now and first wants to watch U.S.-European relations implode.
And it will be much easier then for Russia to win this war on its own terms.
But the president's focused on Zelensky, saying if someone doesn't want to make a deal,
that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
On trade, the president says
no room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
25% on imports from each country. Canada's Foreign Minister Melanie Joly tells CTV,
"We are ready with $155 billion worth of tariffs."
Stocks tumbled on the news, and Nicole Winfield has an update on the Pope.
The Vatican is reporting another setback in Pope Francis's recovery from pneumonia. Doctors say he suffered 2 more respiratory crises today, and they had to put him back on the non-invasive mechanical ventilation. They also had to perform what's called a bronchoscopy, where they snaked a tube down into his airways, guided by a camera, to suction out the mucus and secretions that he's not been able to cough out on his own. They speak of these episodes as in the past tense, meaning they are over, but they are still saying that his prognosis is guarded, meaning he is not out of danger.
This is AP News. An Oscar recap from Ed Donahue.
Some blockbusters were in contention for Best Picture. That includes Wicked and Dune Part 2. But the winner is a story set at a strip club.
Honora.
It's kind of a fairy tale story without the fairy tale ending.
You might be Cinderella. Yes, Cinderella.
Star Mikey Madison won the Best Actress Oscar. Sean Baker won Best Director.
Watching a film in the theater with an audience is an experience. We can laugh together, cry together, scream and fight together, perhaps sit in devastated silence together. And in a time in which the world can feel very divided, this is more important than ever.
Adrian Brody won Best Actor for The Brutalist. Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress for her role in Emilia Perez. And Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor for his performance in A Real Pain. The Oscar ceremony, for the most part, stayed away from politics. I'm Ed Donahue.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies, a low around 42, and rain showers move in after midnight. It will be breezy. Showers and storms are likely for Tuesday, cloudy with a high around 50, and it will be windy. Rain showers continue to fall as we look ahead toward Tuesday night, low of 48, cloudy, and still windy. Then for Wednesday, showers and storms remain. Mostly cloudy, high right around 50 as winds get stronger. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 47 degrees.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez, Patty Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patty Vasquez.
And yes, we are driving it home. but with special guest hosts. Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. We have been on for the past hour, but now we are welcoming our friends in Minnesota, KTNF AM 950. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening.
Thank you.
We apologize that Patty's not here. Patty's in Minnesota, just so you know. Patty went to New Orleans again. Last time she was there, she brought them snow. This time she went down there and she took them rain and a tornado.
She is banned.
She is
banned.
And so for our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 and the Heartland Signal, thank you so much for listening. And the text line blew up just now. It blew up.
Of course it did.
It did. It blew up. But we have a guest waiting.
Yes.
And wait a minute. Hold on. There is a text regarding our particular guest. Let me find it real quick.
Okay.
All right. Who is our guest, Ken?
Okay. Rock star. Marie Newman is a former Congresswoman, nonprofit CEO, marketing executive, author of A Life Made from Scratch, and When Your Child is Being Bullied, Real Solutions. She's an anti-bullying activist, former Moms Demand Action spokesperson, and national LGBTQ plus advocate. In addition to those roles, she's a mom of two. Marie Newman is known for building movements and solving the toughest problems. Marie's next book, which we will be talking to her about, her memoir, will be released April of 2025. You can pre-order starting in February, which means now. A Life Made from Scratch. Her motto has always been, when you do not see the solution you desperately need, make it from scratch. My friend, former Congresswoman Marie Newman.
Welcome, Marie.
Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
I am groovy like a movie.
Oh, I'm going to start I'm stealing that from you right away. Well, I think Elliot had a text that he wanted to read for you.
Hi, Marie. We announced in the last hour that you were going to be on with us, and then the text line blew up. So I just want to say here, boom. I'm going to put this in here. You're having my former representative on as your guest. I fought hard for her along with a lot of other people. I hope you talk about how Marie Newman got screwed by the Democrats. Apparently there's that sense out there among the electorate that the Democratic Party wasn't fair to you. And I'm going to tell you, that is something that we've talked about here on the show in the past. I'd like to hear your perspective.
Well, oh my gosh, that is we didn't even warm up it.
I wish you were here right now. You should see the look that I'm getting. I'm like, wait a minute, sir.
You said read the text.
I didn't know that
reading
was the text. I didn't know that was the text.
See, this is why we need to prep more.
I thought you guys were going to buy me a drink first, for God's sake.
The drink comes after.
Martini's on me next time, Marie, I promise. My God.
Apologies for that, but hey, let's hit the ground running. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's kind of an easy answer to that. In life, not everything is fair. In politics, it's not fair. In love, it's not fair. Not everything is perfectly fair. It is hard to even assess whether redistricting was fair or not, right? It's very hard to assess because we don't have a transparent process. And so my only criticism is that we need a process where there is defined leadership, a defined process, and a list of who does what, where, when, and how. At the heart of it, I am, a management consultant, and having sloppiness and lack of transparency and not understanding who's in charge and not having a defined step-by-step process, which many states do, not all, but many states do. So let's just do better that way. It doesn't matter if I won or lost. It really, everybody landed in a good spot. So I would say let's just have a better process, guys.
Great answer. Great answer.
I'm going to sit back right now because I guess I'm a little...
I've already given him the death stare.
Yeah, this is like me on a first date. I get a little too aggressive, and I'm like, hey, you want to meet my mom?
It's like you stay in the corner. So, Marie, I want to talk to you about your book. What inspired you to say, okay, I want to share my life with the world?
Yeah, it was. By the way, I have good news. It comes out March 18th, not in April. But my publisher moved up my publisher moved up my release date because there were folks that were it's a complicated market, but the wholesalers and the booksellers were asking for it, so they moved it up to. So it's actually available March 18th, and you can order now.
And that is a great problem to have.
Yeah, no, it was good. I just wasn't really ready for it, and I was like, oh gosh, okay, here we go. So as I was leaving Congress, a few publishers came to me and said, hey, you have a really interesting story. Would you like to tell your story? And I thought, I don't know. I don't know if that's a book I would want to read. And so I was kind of not super interested in doing it. Then as I talked to my team, my family and friends are like, no, absolutely. You've had unique experiences that nobody else has had. And I don't know about that, but I think that it is a series of relatable experiences. I have had an improbable journey to Congress and lots of building of movements from scratch. I mean, the premise of it is that it's a series of stories of where I've built something from scratch because it's happened many times. And the reason I had to build it from scratch is it just didn't exist, right? So my motto has always been, when the solution you desperately need in the world is not available, guess what? You got to make it from scratch.
I love that way of looking at life. Can you, because I will be reading the book, by the way, but can you tell us, of course, can you tell us the hardest thing in your life that you've had to build from scratch?
I think each one has been hard in its own way. I mean, there's three or four that stood out. So when, 14, 15 years ago, my oldest was being bullied severely to the point of, therapy and hospitalization and a bunch of things. And it was a big, gnarly mess. And I frequently call the big gnarly messes the big sticky ball nobody wants to touch in the room. So everybody's at the party and they see the big sticky ball and it's like, gross, nobody wants to touch it. Well, guess what? Usually it's Marie that goes to touch it and picks it up and figures it out.
Gross.
So yeah, I'm like, no one else is going to do it. I guess it's me. I'm not even qualified, but let me do it. I think that happened when my son was being bullied. I then wrote a manual about how for schools and parents and communities to manage through these problems, right? Mm-hmm. And so from there, I was asked by Sears Holding Company to develop a national nonprofit. I did that, went to Obama's executive summit on it, helped pass an EO on it, a bunch of things, right? And similarly, when my daughter was transitioning from male to female, she's a trans woman now and doing well, that was a really big deal. I had to learn everything, right? I didn't know anything about being a mother of a trans child, right? So I'd actually take a break from work and then learn that. And I had already been an LGBTQ advocate, but I knew exactly, by the time Edie came out, I think I knew exactly 2 trans people in my whole life, right? So, I did not know anything. And that's really what it's about, is that it's, the mother of invention is just necessity every damn time,
Right.
So those have been and then when people started to ask me to run for Congress, because I had been an activist for the last 25 years, I was like, oh gosh, that seems hard. And,
yeah.
But again, nobody else in Illinois 3 wanted to, touch the sticky ball. So
right. And it was a sticky ball, by the way. It was very sticky.
Yeah, it was. So everything is hard in its own way. What I hope the takeaway from the book is that everybody can do everything. We all can do hard things. And sometimes there's no manual and you have to build it from scratch.
I have a text question from you. This one's a lighter-hearted one. Okay, it's not as aggressive as the last one was. I apologize again for the first one. Sometimes I know my people skills sometimes need work. Hi, so happy you have Marie Newman on. I canvassed for her back in 2018. She's one of the truly rare folks in politics, genuinely cares about public service.
Yes.
What support mechanisms has she found to aid her in her work for public advocacy? There are a lot of us helping others independently and staying far away from political parties.
Ooh, that's a good question.
So the question is, what support mechanisms have you found to aid in your work for public advocacy?
You know, because I've always just kind of built things from scratch, I think we're in that process right now. So to that question, I'm using a bunch of things. So I'm working with activist groups of a wide variety in D.C. right now. There's a coalition that's been built and been talking about how to rebuild the party that has really gone astray, right? It is... we have to be honest with ourselves. I think that there's nothing but opportunity here, and we have good, solid days ahead. But we are a bit of a hot mess right now. Let's just all be honest about that.
Yes, thank you for saying it. Yes.
And so what I've been doing is I've been working with a lot of the indivisible groups. I've probably done 7 or 8, 9 of these now here and in D.C., where I've talked about we have to rethink how we're thinking about voters. Voters don't give a darn about party anymore. About 50 to 60% of the population, or the voting population, is what we used to call independent, and now I call them context voters, because folks in this election voted based on what they saw in front of them and what was their context. So many people had the context of, hey, I want things to be more simple again. I want, immigration is making me nervous, and the economy is in the toilet right now. That was at least their reality. Were those things all necessarily true? No, but that was their reality. So we have to understand how context voters actually think and work. And we have to stop putting everybody in these buckets. There are let's look at the electorate right now. So in the exit polling, Gallup and Pew showed that of all Trump voters, only 22% were actually Republicans that either leaned that way or what if the rest were context voters and some Democrats, right? So in the overall electorate, only about 30% say that they affiliate, lean towards, or are a Democrat, and a similar amount for Republicans. So what that tells me, if we take the squish out of the 30%, we're looking at 40 to probably 60% of the current electorate is non-affiliated, right? And they vote based on their context. So we have to stop thinking about people as Democrats and Republicans and independents and think about what the issues are. So the big chore that the Democrats have in front of them is understanding people's context and their everyday. And they're just not. I'm sorry. And God bless them. There's a lot of hardworking, amazing, talented, lovely humans in Congress. But no one is leading the charge on that. I hope Ken Martin does. I see him out knocking doors in rural areas. That's a good start.
That is a great start.
The number one thing, and I can't stress this enough, is the number one thing that Trump voters said when they decided to vote for Trump versus VP Harris is they said, you know what, nobody ever asked me. And that really stuck with me in all those focus groups. I was like, oh, my God. And it's true. We told them what they should be thinking, but we didn't ask them. And so we got to rebuild and ask.
Marie, can you hang with us until the next break, this next break, and then we'll take
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's going to be real quick, and then we'll finish. We'll take you to the bottom of the hour. This is Marie Newman, who was a former congressional representative and running for...
She's an author.
You're an author? Oh, an author. Wrote a book.
Yes.
Getting published sooner than we thought.
Yes.
And knows how to deal with overly aggressive questions fairly well. I got it.
She's a rock star.
Got my vote right there. All right. We'll be back after this break. This is Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal on Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to. So make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
After getting my promotion, the time had come to sell our home, so we got an appraisal.
But it was much lower than we expected. Before we had it appraised again, a friend suggested we make some changes.
I put my framed vintage Negro League baseball shirt, our African art, and family photos into storage. And that second appraisal came back much higher.
It's a shame we had to hide who we are to get a fair home appraisal.
A recent study found that Black and Latino homeowners are about twice as likely as white homeowners to get low appraisals. For example, one Black homeowner received an appraisal more than double the original after removing family photos, Black art, and books from her home. If you believe your home has been unfairly appraised because of race or national origin, that could violate the Fair Housing Act. Contact HUD at hud.gov/fairhousing. That's hud.gov/fairhousing. Everyone has a right to fair housing. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez on WCPT 820.
We're driving it home on the Patty Vasquez Show with special guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. We've got special guest Marie Newman on the line, who's been talking about her involvement in politics as well as the book that she's written.
Yes.
And I'm just going to sit back a bit because I tend to be a little too aggressive in my questioning.
Oh, stop. you stop it.
You're
right there.
fine. You're fine. It made me laugh more than anything else.
I appreciate that.
I think I'm going to have to send you the actual clip of me looking at him as he asked that question.
It was a look. Again, if you're
like, what are you doing?
Which is why, if you're watching on the Facebook page or on the YouTube page, there's a whole level to this show that you're getting to see.
I can't hide my face.
That you're not getting just
sorry.
listening over the air. And again, thank you, Marie, for being such a good sport about all this.
No worries.
I appreciate that.
And so now the book, A Life Made from Scratch. So a little bit about politics. I have a question for you. As you watched the last cycle, because you and I politically we align. I totally agreed with everything you just said about how we can, fix the party. Did you find that Democrats were not speaking to folks that we should be speaking to? Because the way you during the last segment, you mentioned that a lot of folks weren't even asked. Did you see that a lot happening? Because I know I did.
Yeah, I think that everybody, now I keep hearing some party leaders are like, oh, we got to tack to the right, we got to tack to the center, we got to do this. It's like, no, stop. Everybody stop. Go talk to people in all 50 states and understand what their context basket is, because you clearly do not understand. Now, I will say, and I want to be clear, VP Harris did an amazing job. Her team did an amazing job.
Yes.
The party did an amazing job. All of the volunteers, we should not blame anyone or feel badly about anything, but we should know that we found out that these folks did not feel like we asked them what they wanted and that we told them what they wanted, and nobody likes that. So it's as simple as get out to all 50 states and start talking to people, because you got to reinvent. And when you reinvent, you got to hear what people want.
No, I like that. So when you ran your first race, you ran against an incumbent who wasn't real. I'm being very politically correct because I'm on air. Wasn't doing very much for the community at all. Was kind of letting us all down. You came in, and you didn't let us down. When you look back on folks that are in office that are constantly letting us down, what advice would you give someone that's sitting at home, driving in their car right now thinking, I think I could do a better job, but I don't know what to do?
You know, this is part of the talk that I've been giving to the Indivisible groups and some of the other activist groups in the coalitions is we are at our best when public sentiment is behind our politicians, right? So by us becoming very aggressive and very loud and very strategic, it helps our representatives and senators have more courage, and courage is contagious. And then secondly, it makes them stronger because they have public sentiment behind them. So we still are a part of this equation. We have to really make noise and really make it clear we will not, our red line is you will not cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Red line. Stop hurting our veterans. Stop hurting our elderly. Stop hurting our disabled. Like all of those things, right? We got to get really clear on all that. So the second part of my talk is beyond the activism is run. It's as simple. I can't say it any louder. Please run. We are due as part of this reinvention and innovation in the party. Not only does everybody have to learn what the electorate wants and who they really are, but we need new folks. Of course, there's some great incumbents and they should stay and
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
But a lot of folks need to go night-night. I'm just here to tell you.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is time for night-night for a bunch of folks. And so I have candidates call me every week, but I do give them the eye-opener, right? These are the things, and that's partly why I wrote the book, too, is that understand what you are going to be up against. I am still encouraging you to run, but I was naive about how brutal it can be, right? And so I share with folks that, look, it's it was the best job I've ever had. I really enjoyed the community work, solving problems, and building legislation. I didn't really enjoy the politics a whole big bunch, I will tell you.
And that makes sense.
So I tell people, run, because this is the time to run. We are in a kind of a great opportunistic period where folks can run in all parts of government. And I don't like the word levels because each part of government is just as important. If you are a library trustee, it's just as important as being a city council member or a member of Congress. You are delivering public service to people, and you should feel amazing about that. So I say run in every part of government. I have, by the way, I built some how-to manuals for a couple of groups in D.C., and they're on my website, which is Marie Newman Studio. So if you're planning a social movement or you're planning a political campaign, go ahead, take a peek on there, and I hope those are helpful. It's at marienewmanstudio.com. My book's on there and all the other stuff, but those manuals are on there if you need help.
And before I let you go, thank you so much for joining. I know you have a book signing coming up in Lombard. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, and I've got a bunch of them. So
sorry, I just saw the Lombard. I'm a bad stalker. I apologize.
So
I can help you with that.
Thank you.
The first one, my launch event is March 18th at Barbara's Bookstore in Yorktown Mall in Lombard.
Okay.
But then I have another, I think, 10 events in the Chicago area, and then I'm going to Seattle, Portland, D.C., Phoenix, and a couple of other spots. So, yeah, so it'll be fun. I keep telling my husband, I said, it's okay if my book doesn't do well, but I get to see all these people I haven't seen in so long. I'm so excited.
Well, I look forward to seeing you on the 18th. I will be there. That's why I have it written down.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, so I'm coming.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Marie.
Well, it was a delight. And yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I will talk to you soon. And listeners, we will be right back after this break.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Regina Kroll. This evening, we're expecting mostly cloudy skies, a low around 42, and rain showers move in after midnight. It will be breezy. Showers and storms are likely for Tuesday, cloudy with a high around 50, and it will be windy. Rain showers continue to fall as we look ahead toward Tuesday night, low of 48, cloudy, and still windy. Then for Wednesday, showers and storms remain. Mostly cloudy, high right around 50 as winds get stronger. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because feeling full can sound like this.
How did the interview go? I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
And like this.
Mom, I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/act now. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
We're driving it home with special guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. Also want to thank our new sponsor, Are You Really Winning? March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and the Patty Vasquez Show is proud to welcome a new sponsor to the Driving It Home family. Are you really winning? Betting, gaming, wagering, no matter what you call it, gambling can take many forms. And for some people, gambling can lead to financial problems, relationship problems, and depression and anxiety. But you don't have to feel out of control. Problem gambling can be managed and treated. We are here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER, or visit areyoureallywinning.com today. We've been talking about we talked a little bit about gambling as far as the Mega Millions. We had a text.
We did.
Dave from Hoffman Estates texted in. Elliot and Ken, earlier you guys were talking about Powerball and Mega Millions lottery. I've not played them in a while now, as I come to realize that these games are quote-unquote rigged lately. When the jackpots get way up in obscenely atmosphere dollars, you get one winner, and either of them is from the left coast or the right coast. Never or very very, very rarely is there a winner from the Midwest. And as the jackpots build, more people are buying tickets, and yet only one gets the winner. Years before, you get 3 to 4 winners, usually across the U.S. One coast would win Powerball, and you can bet the other coast will get the Mega Millions when its pot will grow. So a little bit of, the Midwest isn't benefiting from the coasts.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that because I do believe the last few winners were from the Midwest. I think
there was one in Ohio.
Yes, yeah. I think the big winners, like the big winners, have been from the coast.
Right.
But we don't pay attention to the $5 million pots or the $10 million pots because trust me, I'm not turning down $10 million.
I'm telling you that
I'm not turning down $10.
Here's my thing: if I was, let's say, if I played it, I would not want to be the one who'd win that huge check because it gets so much attention.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I'd have so many family members come out of the woodwork asking for money. I would want to be one of those. You know what? Yeah, like a $10 million winner, $5 million winner, whatever, like something like that.
Where it goes under the radar.
Under the radar. I can take that money, put it into my ever so dwindling retirement account, and then just not have to worry about, what's going to happen when I, decide to retire.
I win the lotto. I'm buying eggs. I'm buying 24 eggs.
That then there is an investment.
24 eggs.
All right. And real quick, so many calls. I mean, so many texts that blew up. Hey, you guest guys are doing great. Please ask some of the people that call in and complain about the Democrats or the party. When did they last run for office, or have they volunteered? Or how about offering some ideas to their current party? Marie Newman was talking about that very thing.
Yes. So people, listen, because I get that a lot too, because I'm a liberal. I'm a Democrat, but I'm a liberal. So some of the pushback I get is, well, Ken, what are you doing to help? And it's like, easy. I knock doors. I help candidates. I'm a political strategist. I'm a former chair of a party. Just because someone complains doesn't mean that they're not doing anything. I think that's a false narrative. I think a lot of folks... This is how I look at it. I made a Facebook post about it and people got mad. So here we go again. People hate Ken. But you can either be a Democrat or you can join a cult. So if you are a part of any organization, I don't care what organization that is, if you can't find a fault or anything negative about that organization, then you are not in an organization. You, my friend, are in a cult. So if you can't add to the discussion of how the Democratic Party can be better, if you think the Democratic Party is the best it can be, has the best folks it can ever have in the history of the world, bad news, you're probably in a cult. The rest of us are looking at it like, yes, we're a great party, but there is room to do better, period.
And with some perspective about Colorado Democrats and voters, we'd like to welcome Cynthia, who's been on the line for a
Cynthia.
bit. Hey, Cynthia, thank you so much for waiting and for calling in to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. You're in with guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. How you doing?
Well, good. Thank you so much for taking my call. I do have some suggestions for Democrats nationally, and I think I've said this before to Patty. They don't teach civics in school anymore. I'm willing to bet the reason most people don't know how government works.
Correct.
I would encourage the Democrats to take some courses, teach some courses to how a bill is made, how one president profits from the last president, or he's cursed from the last president. There is no way Trump can make an economy good in 1 month or 1 year. He's running off previous presidents' policies. Now, he can wreck things pretty fast, as he's showing, but I really do believe that the Democrats need to start explaining how, like Bob the Builder, how one peg, in a spoke turns it, there's not enough people who understand how government runs. And I think if they knew, then they wouldn't be so reckless in choosing people who they want to have a beer with for a legislator or a president.
Say that again, Cynthia. Oh, my God.
Thanks, Cynthia, for chiming in. We appreciate your call.
Yes.
I mean,
it's true.
It is. There's a lot there.
What happened to Schoolhouse Rocks?
So they're out there. You can find them on YouTube, and it's funny that with the last, dust up on social media when the White House social media account declared Trump as the king, and then there was someone passed around on social media the YouTube or the Schoolhouse Rock No More Kings, No More Kings, and it talked about the whole thing about how we wanted to no longer have kings. I will say this, and this is not as an excuse, but as someone who has been in the classroom, because I get this all the time. Why aren't we teaching these kids this? We need to teach the kids about how to do their taxes because they don't need to know how to do algebra. They need to learn how to do their taxes. I go, have you ever tried teaching math in a classroom? Our teachers are at their wits' end just trying to teach the basics. I'm talking about the bare basics about, again, reading, arithmetic, science, social studies. Getting our kids to focus on those things in this current environment with our kids is challenging as it is. Don't get me wrong. I think civics is really important. And I think if you made it, I remember, I can date myself here, but I do remember taking civics in school. I do remember having to take a Constitution test.
I think you have to.
Yeah. Right? But I remember all those things. And that's why these days when I see people complaining online about why doesn't the Congress do this? Why don't the Democrats do that? I'll go, folks, the reason the Democrats aren't doing these things is because they can't. They have no majority. Yes, there are things that they can do to obstruct, which they will. There are things that they can do to kind of slow the gears for a while, which they are doing. But to get angry at Democrats for not being able to do certain things is a bit ridiculous. But hold on. And now to that end, I've had this text sitting in front of me for a while.
Oh God.
And
oh God.
And this is,
and you made direct eye contact before you said that.
And this is, I know it's calling me out. Okay. So, and I accept that. And again, if you text, because we had that one caller, I know when I said Democrats should have shown up or and then that's why we lost it. And I know, and I even said, that one gentleman saying the election was stolen, blah, blah, so on. Fine. This is from the 815. I'm reading. I got to go through this real quick. This is from a person. They claim that they're a reporter for The Guardian and New York Times. The GOP purged 3.6 million black voters that voted for Kamala with a bogus scheme to stop the black vote, especially in blacks and red states. This was Greg Palast was talking about this, the reporter. Tom Hartman interviews him. It's been authenticated by 2 different investigations. Look online, check the source. Trump projects his lies. This time they actually stole the vote. I'm a former college professor. This is not junk science. GOP passed all these laws within the last years. So here. And I'm not going to deny that, yes, there was voter suppression going on.
There always is.
There always is.
Yes.
The Democrats saw that coming, too. So whether it's imagined suppression or actual suppression, yes, it was actual suppression. Democrats had to be smarter and figure the end around on the Republicans on how to deal with these taxes. Because I'm telling you, for every tactic, there's a counter to it.
Yes.
And my problem here is only as far as the messaging goes. Throughout 2020 and on, the Trump side kept saying the election was stolen, the election was stolen, the election was stolen.
Correct.
So it's just difficult for us now to come out and say the election was stolen. It's just I'm sorry, it's just an optics thing.
I personally do not believe the election was stolen. I believe that man got more votes. However, as a black man in this country, I'm not going to sit on this platform and tell you that voter suppression does not happen and it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Both things can be true. That's it.
That's true. And again, it does happen. Guess what? Yeah, that means you got to fight harder on our side. Got to fight harder to get that vote out that is being suppressed.
Yes.
So And anywho, and I say, hey, we're learning a lot from this election, how it went. I say the Democrats need to take some pages from that playbook and use it for the midterms.
We need to start playing hardball.
Yeah, I kept saying it's
time to play
the
hardball.
Air Bud bit. The Republicans have been letting their golden retriever dunk on us, and we're saying, but dogs can't play basketball.
Yes, and it's like the dog is playing. Let's get our dog.
Let's get our dog. Exactly. All right, this is our last break before the final. We'll be back.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Count me among the Americans that want to see change. Now, of course, the change I was looking for would have put Kamala Harris in the White House. Americans voted for change. They just, Trump, I think they got the wrong kind. Still, I'm grateful for elections, even when we lose. They tell us about ourselves, and we can't ignore that and shouldn't.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
There are 1,000 ways to say it.
Nope. Knock it off. Shut it down. Dream on. No dice. Give it a rest. Not a chance.
Or just
I'll text. You focus on the road.
As a passenger, you have the power to prevent an accident. There are 1,000 ways to stop a distracted driver. Choose one.
A message from CTIA.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez on WCPT 820.
We're driving it home on the Patty Vasquez Show with guest hosts Elliot Serrano and Ken Mejia Beal. And if you've been watching us on the YouTube or the Facebook page,
we are back to the YouTubes.
We're back to the YouTubes, and you folks, you missed it. I was ready to throw stuff at Ken. We've been arm wrestling, we've been arguing, we've been throwing things. It's been one of those days, and we're coming back tomorrow.
It's kind of like my first marriage.
My first marriage, wow. We are both in therapy right now.
I am, and after I leave here, I'm going to go have a drink, just like my first marriage. But I'll be back tomorrow, because we're in for Patty again, and our guests include Wisconsin radio host Ben Kimonos and Lyle trustee Mary Jo Mullen, who is running for mayor. Tuesday on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be joined by Illinois reps Robin Kelly and Brad Schneider, plus Up North News founder Pat Kretlow, and Heartland Signal's Rich Eberwein will with 3 stories you might have missed from our digital newsroom. Live, Local, and Progressive weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago Progressive Talk for 20 years. Right now on the Driving It Home Featured Interviews podcast, you can hear Patty's recent interviews with Wisconsin State Senator Diane Hesselben, Texas State Rep James Tallarico, Single Car Crashes writer-director Brittany Ward, and cast members Trevor Morgan and Paula Osfinski, Walter Mendenhall, former NFL running back and founder of Male Mogul Initiative, former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, and much more. Find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon. Just search for Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez or get the links on the Driving It Home show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on Patty's beautiful picture. Listen live weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. at 8:20 a.m. on TuneIn from heartlandsignal.com, or watch the live video on WCPT's Facebook or YouTube pages. Back to you, Elliot.
And if you haven't had a chance yet, you can always text at 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. As always, thanking all our listeners here in Chicago listening on WCPT 820 AM, throughout the country on the Heartland Signal, as well as in syndication on KTNF AM 950. And we're getting near the end of our first show of the week. And we're going to see a lot of each other this week. We are going to see a lot of each other this week.
I'm excited about it.
I'm going through our texts here. Again, the text blew up right after I asked people to text.
Good.
And people were calling. And this has been a heck of a show. Calling wonderful. Back, I believe, to earlier in this hour, Patty is my favorite, but so awesome to hear you guys. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
We appreciate that.
This dude is right on. We talked about Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, so this dude is right on about Brandon Johnson. I am 60 and have literally almost never seen such an incompetent leader as this guy. And I'm airing that out because I guess we are a progressive station, but we're not going to say that the Democratic leaders, supposedly progressive leaders of our party, can't be criticized. And the thing with Brandon Johnson, again, it's all, if you ask me, it's been messaging. In fact, both sides are having an issue with this right now. The Republican Party right now is being buried by their constituency over this whole Elon Musk thing, over the cuts being made to the federal government, and they are doing a horrible job making a case to the American people about why this is good. The only folks who are happy with it are the MAGAs who are also going, I support President Trump, but I didn't expect him to cut my job.
And it's funny because he told you he would. So I don't understand what the surprise is here.
And again, it's back to minorities here. I mean, a minority voting block. Because I'm going to call out two things here. Coming to the end here.
Do it.
First, I'm getting tired. And every time I see this on social media, I kind of have to call it out and make a correction. I'm getting tired of hearing that when it comes to the Trump administration and his policies that, quote unquote, half the country agrees with it. Okay, because of he got like 49%. Okay, half the country did not agree with it.
No.
77 million people voted for Donald Trump, and guess what? That's 24% of the overall population of the United States of America. So that's 1 in 4 people in a room.
Yes.
All right. So if one guy walks in a room and starts saying all that stuff about Trump, and there are 3 other people in that room who disagree, trust me, that one person doesn't get to run things unless the other 3 let them.
And that is the problem, though, because you're going to have one that stands up, and you're going to have 2 that says, oh, this is this is not polite dinner conversation. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm just going to sit silently and play with my pearls or play with my pen. That is the problem in America. Too many people are so afraid of being uncomfortable, and they're so afraid of confrontation. They're so afraid of being offensive. I wake up every morning and I say, my goal is to offend 3 people today. 3 people every day. 3 random people, whether it be online, in person, because at the end of the day, I believe in honesty over politeness. And I think that's where we need to get back to. And, well, I mean, I'm a weird person, and that's probably why I don't have that many friends. But we need more than 1 out of 4 to be ready to stand up and say, well, let's have an honest conversation.
And then relating this to, again, back to the Brandon Johnson issue. I mean, how many people in Chicago voted in the last election?
3.
I want to say it was less than 10% of the less than 10% of the total of voting eligible folks in the city of Chicago.
It was outrageous.
It was ridiculously
outrageous
for all the talk and all the, I don't want to say vitriol, but all the folks were just so angry and saying, "Oh, we need someone better." And it's a messaging thing. With all due respect to Mr. Mayor Johnson, because being the mayor of the third largest market in the United States is not easy.
No.
But the messaging, I'm going to go back to the messaging, doing some incredibly tone-deaf things. I'm sorry. I know you don't intend to do this, but come on. Don't talk about cutting salaries for policemen and firefighters at the same time getting offices renovated, for how many thousands of dollars and paying all this money for haircuts. Yes, I know it's not a big deal. It's not that much money, but it's the optics. It's all about optics. And it seems like the Democratic Party, especially in the city of Chicago, has completely forgotten about optics.
I don't think it's just the Democrats in Chicago.
Oh, it's us too.
I think politicians overall have forgotten about optics, and more importantly, they've forgotten how to shut up and listen to the voters. Because God gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth, and it's become a thing where politicians are so ready to talk at you. Because they have it planned. They've read the polls. They've done the data. They know exactly what you want. And then they do all the talking and leave the room. And it's like, that's not what I want. That has nothing to do with me.
And back to the text line. I think I ticked somebody off.
Joy, Elliot. Yeah. I'm not the only one. Yes.
Okay. I'm looking for context here because this person was texting the Joan Esposito show and was asking questions, but then, boom, here as we're approaching the end, lies. Okay, I guess, there we go. Byrne, Daley, Emanuel all made bad and horrible decisions. True, they did. I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. As a voter, optics is a lazy message. Again, I guess I will say optics don't matter as much as actual policy. But and also I'm not running for office, but I'm just saying as a voter.
But optics matter.
And as a marketing person, that's what I've done. If I was running a campaign, I'd be like, folks, we need to I tell my candidate, you need to pay attention to this. All right, okay, and this is the last one, and this is for me because hey, it's Monday. I'll admit it. I didn't start it all great, and I needed a little cheerfulness. So here, from Mark, who said that we're also great hosts, asks, how are you unemployed, Elliot? You're such a smart, cool guy. Mark, thank you for that.
Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I am not. I am a, FYI, I am a media freelancer. All right. When I'm here at CPT, the folks here at CPT are really cool. They take care of me, but I'm not employed by CPT. I'm kind of like a freelancer. This is like call it a side hustle. And yes. And how is it that we have media have money for a new Bear Stadium? And yet, for schools,
that's a whole other show. That is a whole other show. That is a show that we will do next week.
We will do it. Hey, maybe tomorrow. All right, folks, we got to go. Before we go, Ken, how can people follow you on social media?
Follow me at Ken Mejia Beal on Facebook and Twitter, and please check out youth-outlook.org. Great organization. I am the treasurer.
And I am on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Look for Elliot Serrano with 2 L's, 2 T's, and 2 R's. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening today, for calling, for texting. Ken and I will be back tomorrow while Patty brings maybe an earthquake to New Orleans.
Jesus.
I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, thank you so much, folks, for listening. And if you've missed anything, you can always go to the Heartland Signal page to listen to the podcast of this show. Subscribe, like, heart, share. Help me help you.
That's right.
Coming up next is Randy Road for Ken Mejia Beal. I've been Elliot Serrano. See you next week.
Every day, we go about our lives driven by routine, our vision clouded by the very normalcy we take for granted. Countless victims of human trafficking walk among us, invisible. It's time to open our eyes, The Blue Campaign provides a unified voice for those who combat human trafficking, whether it's forced labor, domestic servitude, or the sex trade. Learn what you can do to help by visiting dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Senate's